Everybody, I thought I'd do a coffee break. It's right at noon, so what better time to have a coffee break after you've been going at it all morning? It's been a busy morning. It's good. And I kind of wanted to talk about, I'll make a video for you guys because as you're working sometimes great ideas just pop in your head. But today's been good. We got some fencing done. We got everybody fed. We got some of the barns cleaned out. We just had ducks hatched this morning. And as you guys can see over here, we got the large bales of hay out there in the field. We got that done. So it's been a very productive morning. And as I'm doing all this work, I thought of a good video to do for you guys. Too many times when we talk about permaculture, when we talk about homesteading, the biggest pushback that I get from people it always comes down to not wanting to be a producer of something. And this is always boggled my mind, because people would really rather acquire resources and liquidate them for security than they would venturing out and actually being their own producer. And I never understood it. And one of the biggest excuses for why people don't want to do it is because, I always get told, well, somebody could just come and take all your stuff. That's always the argument that people are going to give you. And that argument is a nonsensical argument for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, you'd have to find me first. Unless you know where I'm at, you're not going to be able to find me. I'm literally surrounded, and you can see the mountaintops. There's a beautiful fucking day outside, let me tell you, beautiful day. But literally, we are surrounded by nothing but rugged, mountainous woods. Literally, we are literally tucked here in the middle. This parcel is literally flat, tons of pasture, and it's like pretty much cut out in the middle of this beautiful, rugged frontier land. I'm really super blessed. So first and foremost, you got to find me. But let's say you knew where I was. Let's say you were able to completely break through all the infrastructure, everybody in my mag group. Let's just say you're able to get to it. And by get to it, I mean literally you're able to take on everything I got, everything my neighbors got, everything my mag got. So you got it. Okay, well, here you are. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with it? Because the security of being, especially a homesteader, isn't just security that you have based upon isolationism or based upon the fact that you have the ability to be a producer. Your security really comes from your work ethic. It really comes from what it takes to live this lifestyle and make it to where it produces and prospers for you. But like I said, realistically, my security doesn't just come from the fact that I'm isolated out here. It doesn't come from the fact that I have tools. It doesn't come from the fact that I have a group. Yes, all those things help. But ultimately, my work ethic is probably my number one security measure, because realistically, you can take most preppers out there. You can take 99% of preppers. I could give them a cow. I could give them a pig ready to harvest. They wouldn't know what the fuck to do with it anyway. They don't know how to harvest it. They don't know how to cut it up. They don't know how to do any of the harvesting processing methods and measures that are required to get a cow or a pig from where it's at to freezer camp. They just don't have that skill set. They don't know how to do it. That's a lot of security in and of itself. We literally live in this new age where people literally have no idea where their food comes from. People, modern day 2021, if their meat isn't in plastic, wrapped in saran wrap, more plastic, guess what? They don't know what to do with it. They don't know how it got there. So I have a lot of peace of mind knowing what the average American person, what their skill set and threshold is, right? And take most preppers, they're in the same boat. Angry Prepper, I have a lot of respect for him. I watched him when he was talking with Bear from Bear Independent. I watched that interview, and he was very honest and upfront when he said that he's never harvested an animal before. He has no idea, hasn't gone hunting, doesn't know that process at all. I could literally give Angry Prepper, which is the epitome of preparedness. He's been on TV, he's on interviews, he's been a long-standing fixture in the preparedness movement. And guess what? He doesn't even have the skill set necessary to make that food happen. And he's not the only one. Most preppers have no idea how to get food from the hoof to freezer camp. It's just not something they know how to do. And so, when you start being a producer of things, you will gain a lot of security through that producer mentality, because people just don't know how to do it. Making clothes is another great example. If you're able to make clothing, I don't know how to do that. I mean, I could do basic stitching and stuff like that, but if I can't tell you or articulate to you how I can take raw materials and form it into a t-shirt, I have no fucking idea. I am not a producer in those things. And I'd be lying to you if I told you that I had that skill set and that ability too. But you know what? Somebody who's a seamstress, somebody who has that skill set, they definitely do. It's work to live this way. You know what I mean? And it's work that people aren't willing to do. That's my security. That's what gives me security. Your average prepper is not going to go out and run fences. That's not what they do. They're not going to grow food. That's not what they do. They're not producers. They acquire assets and they liquidate them. So if you are a marauder, right? Trust me, path of least resistance. That's the whole point. You go to a place, you hit the location, and you grab all the consumables you can, because that is the mentality. That is a prepper mentality. And that's why preppers are so scared of marauders, because you guys have the same mentality. It's the same mentality. Marauders don't have a homestead mentality. They don't have a producer mentality. They have a victimhood mentality that's based upon getting as many resources as possible and liquidating them. So for those of you out there that might be thinking or want to start a garden or have livestock, but you're afraid to do it because all these online preppers told you that, having gardens and livestock would make you an unnecessary target, I want you to take a few things into consideration, okay? Let's talk about, pre-19th century, right? 1800s, even before then, when agricultural lifestyles were common. Guess what? Guess who really went out in the fields and picked the crops and took care of the animals? Indentured servants, slaves. It was slave work. You know why? Because it's fucking hard. Because it's hard. Now let's fast forward to modern day 2021. You really think people are going to waste their time to take your animals, process them, go to your fields and pick your crops for you? Just be honest. Honest question. What do you think? It's funny because here in this state, we have wild food that grows all over the place. We have apple trees that grow all over the place, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries. Like, this stuff grows just like on the street. You'll see it in bushes, down highways and roads everywhere. And it's funny because if you go to the grocery store, especially when, they are ripe for the picking, people will still go and pay, ridiculous prices for this produce, even though they could literally go outside and pick it themselves. You know why? You know why they do that? It's for convenience. It's for convenience. And marauders, right? They're not going to go into your garden and pick your garden for you. No, they're going to go in your house and they're going to take all the stuff that you've stockpiled and hoarded up. You know why? It's less work. These are just facts. I have lots of peace of mind because this is a lot of hard work. If it was easy, they would call it prepping. You know what I mean? Because prepping is easy. Go to the store, buy a bunch of shit, stock it up, put it somewhere. That's it. You're done. Being a producer, while it gives you leaps and bounds of more, preparedness, it also brings a level of security that's going to be unmatched. Marauders would literally rather go to your house, steal your rice, beans, your canned goods, your freeze-dried foods, and they would much rather do that than go someplace where they know there's cattle, because you know what? That's a lot of fucking work, and I'm telling you, it's a lot of work. They'd rather just eat rice and beans than eat filet mignon. You know why? Because it's hard work, guys. It's funny because I look at this from a full nuanced perspective, right? Here on site, I have all the tools and all the infrastructure necessary to, dispatch, harvest, and put, to fill my freezers up. I can do everything here on site. And I think about how much work that is. And then take somebody that has that skill set. You know how much work it would take for somebody to go to another homestead. First, you'd have to do a geography study. You'd have to know exactly everything that's going on. Then you would have to do, more reconnaissance to figure out what their security plan is and all that stuff. Then, once you got that, you had to make sure you had the resources, whether that, you have the trucks, you have the equipment to go and either shoot the animal and drag it onto a trailer or get the animal on the trailer. So all the work and pre-planning necessary to even make an operation like that's possible, only to then bring that animal back to site to spend another, 8 to 16 hours to process, is ridiculous. People are ridiculous. Honest question, have any of you guys ever actually tried to drag a full-grown cow carcass by yourself? Like, this idea of marauding into the countryside and taking is just, it's ridiculous. It's beyond the pale to be 100% honest with you guys. And heaven forbid somebody actually knows that you're the one that took Farmer Brown's cows. Like, heaven forbid your pickup got recognized because you just went from hunter to hunted. I mean, if you think that you're just gonna, go down the street to your neighbor's house, take his cow, come back, and there's gonna be no repercussions, it doesn't work like that out here, guys. You can see Oakley in the background. It doesn't work out here. So, yeah, don't be discouraged by the internet YouTubers that don't do this in real life. Like I said, I think that if you're really wanting to have a new level of preparedness, you should be a producer. Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be food, but start being your own producer of sorts. I think that is where you're going to get the most bang for your buck. And at the end of the day, that's where you're going to be most secure in your person. Like I said, most people I know, in fact, I don't know anybody in real life that lives an agricultural lifestyle like this that's afraid that they're going to be an unnecessary target for marauders simply because they grow food. Now, I would feel more, worried if my only preparedness mantra was stacking convenient preps for liquidation in case something bad happens. Then yeah, I'd be a little bit more concerned because literally I'm making it as convenient as possible. I have tons of preps that are very expensive, that are all pre-packaged and are super user-friendly, just waiting for the picking. I'd be nervous then. So there you go. That's all I got for you guys. I'm going to go out there and continue to do the things, continue to put in the work, because that's what we do. And I hope you guys have a good one. As always, guys, long live the Republic.